We just had a bad dream. Is this bad dream finally over? Are we ready to wake up and play some Virginia basketball?
You are Locked On Virginia, your daily podcast on the Virginia Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law, Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, your first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's title sponsor today is FanDuel. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. Man, listen, y'all. I don't blow smoke, and I'm not gonna let you know or let you feel like everything's okay just with this one loss. If you've been following the shows, you've known that something like this was coming. I said it, I felt it, and it prophesied itself against this loss against Boston College. I absolutely feel like this was avoidable. I felt like maybe we're a little bit too set in our ways, in the way that we're trying to do things and what we're trying to do. It was a bad dream watching that loss. I'm not going to call it quite a nightmare. It's just a bad dream. Something that, you see it happening, you see it coming. The previous games that they played, you could just see it. You could see the Notre Dame game. You could see the Louisville game. You could see in the Duke game even. And before this, the Virginia Tech game, the Boston College game before this. 6, 7 games coming down the line, you could see it's starting to head downhill slowly. And then these last 3 games, it just caught speed, caught momentum. And now it's here. It's in our faces, in our living room, staring us square in the noggin, saying, all right, we're here. We're your new problem. And our new problem is we cannot score with a team full of talented, super, uber talented offensive players. Probably the best offensive team from a talent standpoint since the championship year of 2019. I've ventured to say, not saying that they're better players, I'd venture to say that this team scores in more of a versatile way than the other team did. The other team just scored points when they needed to, even though they were mainly a jump shooting team. This team, they can score outside. They can score inside. They can drive to the bucket. Think about it. That championship team, they weren't penetrators. They didn't penetrate so much and finish at the rim. You got guys on this team, the simplest type of scoring in basketball, is drilling past somebody, scoring at the rim. Or you got a bigger person or somebody posted up, throw the ball into them, they turn around, do a hook or drop step or just some basic move to get 2 points. We have those basic elements on this team. Whether you want to, acknowledge it or not, this team may have more versatile ways to beat you. You also have a 7-footer, or excuse me, your center, your small ball center, who's a 3-point shooter, right? You also have guys on the outside, Armand Franklin, Isaac McNeely, Reese Beekman, Kihei Clark, guys who can shoot from deep as well. So what the hell is going on? A loss to a team like Boston College is really embarrassing, but it's something that I feel like just should not have happened. I'm looking at Coach Bennett square. I'm looking at Coach Bennett about this, and it's been 3 games. I've been saying it. I want to see what Coach Bennett's adjustments have been. Nothing really, not much, because they've actually been the formula has been found out. And kudos to Virginia Tech. And my guy Chris Graham said it best from the Augusta Free Press, my guy. He said the coach for Virginia Tech figured out to allow the double team, look for the open man, and rotate the ball for an open shot. He kind of cracked the code on some of the on some of the offense and defense of what Virginia does. The difference is they're challenging us. They're running kind of their own pack line defense where they're not allowing us to make. They're pretty much packing it inside, making us shoot outside, and that formula is working when we are shooting an abysmal 19% from 3-point range, 20%, 20-something percent. In some games, these recently from deep. I'm not sure where they, in practice, whenever you're in a slump, I guess you just keep shooting, you keep working on fundamentals. But then it gets to here, it needs to be, a mental turnaround, because right now, mentally, the team is suffering, not just one player. One thing about negative energy, just like positive energy, when things are bad, it radiates, it moves. It's never stagnant. It either go one way or it can go the other. This negative energy or this negative happenings is going through the system right now. It's going through the team. Everybody's having issues. You think about the free throw shooting. Players who typically don't have free throw shooting issues are missing free throws. That negative energy, that it's like a discomfort. It's just a lot going on with them, and it's radiating through the team. I don't know what to do to fix it. I'm not a basketball coach, but maybe it needs to be some kind of team activities off the court. I don't know, but maybe I'll come up with you. You guys comment. Make sure you put some. Oh, you like the page and subscribe, and maybe we can try to come up with a way to help this team, because we got a hungry North Carolina team we have to play here pretty soon. But sit tight. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sports app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from money line to point scores and threes drained. You can also bet on things that includes things that are in your core market: players, props, player points, rebounds, assists, etc. And so many more exclusive bets like 2x3, 2 3-pointers scored in the first 3 minutes. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss out on the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked-on. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. So we're just trying to come up with a remedy, Wahoo fans, viewers, listeners, on what we've seen. I mean, the score, 63-48, first of all. The lowest point total UVA scored this year. They didn't even get to 50 points. You know what I mean? That right there is so embarrassing in itself, to we losing in a way we typically don't lose. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here thinking, all right, you know, if we can figure out a way to get out of this, where do we go from here? Because for me, I'm just trying to come up with a remedy. I need a remedy, and maybe you guys can help. Maybe you guys can help with a remedy, some ways to figure out if this team needs we need to figure out a way to find the next step to go, the next step to get to. But yeah, losing the game 63-48, lost to BC. Looking at some of the comments from folks, people are upset, but they were like some of the fans, believe it or not, kind of feel like how I feel. We saw it coming. And when we saw it coming, we just kind of figured, oh, maybe, hopefully, we have faith in the coaching staff. We have faith, in their system. What could they do to turn it around? None of the players, none of the scorers have been consistent. Kihei Clark, 2 for something. He shot 2 for something for this game. Reese Beekman shot 2 for something. Reese Beekman is the biggest mystery, but let's put him aside for a minute. Armand Franklin, he's been streaky. He shot 2 for something. Bennett Vanderplas shot 2 or 3 for something. Kihei Clark, 2 for something. Everybody only made 2 shots. Bennett Vanderplas, I think, made 3 shots as far as your scorers go. And then the only person who's really been consistent is Jaden Gardner. Remember Jaden Gardner, beginning of the year, was having some, a little bit of scoring trouble, but he's just had to get in the rhythm, and now he's the most consistent shooter or scorer on the team now, and that's what they're having to depend on. Jaden still wound up with 15 points, for that game, but it's for me, it could be turning into a nightmare because there is a hungry UNC team who is ready to pounce on the Cavaliers. And the Cavaliers need to figure it out right now. I got to look to leadership. UVA shooting 19%, 4 of 21 from 3. 4 of 21 from 3. I don't even know how do you get there? When you shoot so well. And it's not like it's not like all their shots are contested. They're missing straight up open shots. Isaac McNeely, he made 2 shots, but he's only getting 4 or 5 shots a game, 6 shots a game. When he made those 2 threes, I said, okay, here we go. Maybe, just maybe, we can get in some kind of rhythm. I have to give Boston College some kudos for the way that they slowed down this offense. Now, this offense for this entire year usually has been great, has scored when they needed to, put up points. But it showed that it can be slowed down and it can be stopped. Notre Dame, Louisville, Duke, BC, Virginia Tech just started the the uh, the the cart rolling downhill, and it just gained momentum. Will it come to a stop? I don't know. I just said about the three point percentage being at 19%. Nightmare. Also, they're missing layups. Everybody's missing layups. And I said put Reese Beekman to the side for a second. Reese Beekman, being one of the major ones that is missing layups. Reese Beekman is, quite frankly, the one person who is lottery or first round pick talent worthy on the team right now. I don't know if he's going to go then right now after playing the way that he's been playing. Missing layups, missing open shots. I don't know what's going on. I think they said that he's at least 90%, so he's pretty much almost healed from his injury in the beginning of the year, which was his hamstring. And he's, I don't really necessarily see him hurting. I mean, he always walks like he's laboring or something's going on with him, which may be the case. But the team during this stretch is shooting like, or last game anyway, shot 32% from the field. And I'd imagine they're still shooting somewhere in the 30s regular field goal percentage, or in the low 40s field goal percentage. You're not going to win games in the ACC late in the season. We got 3 games left, guys. UNC, hungry. Clemson, hungry. Trying to get back to the top of the ACC. And I think they may have a shot, but it has to start now. We got 3 games left in the regular season before we get to tournament. Worst thing that we can be is inconsistent and not playing our best basketball, which it looks like we're heading in that direction. But yeah, the missing layups thing, that is, for me, very concerning, because that shows a lack of focus, a lack of everything that this team has built, from a program standpoint to now. That they have always been a team that have stayed in focus, have followed the coach's strict regimen as far as the way he trains the kids, the way he teaches them, the way that this system is pretty much the gospel. You have to run this pack line. You have to be a defensive first player to be a Tony Bennett guy. But the defense is getting broken down. If you've seen what's been going on, I think that the perimeter players are struggling. Reese Beekman, who was just a lockdown, I think they're struggling there. But there could be a Superman on the way. There could be a player that they could use, in my opinion, that could turn a lot of this around. And I'll give you who that is after this quick ad. Thank you again for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. So, are you ready for the remedy? Who I think could really give us the shot in the arm that we need. Now, it's not gonna do a 180, 100%, okay, everyone? But my remedy to help ease some of this is, number one, we need easier buckets. We need to make regular 2s. So you kind of feel like you know where I'm going with this. Also, we need someone who can definitively challenge shots at the rim. That's right. Caden. We got to go back to Caden. Caden Shedrick is a game changer on the defensive end. When he's not fouling, giving up unnecessary fouls, Caden changes the way that this team plays. And he's only getting, 10 minutes a game? If that, 7 minutes a game, 8 minutes a game, spot duty. But he's an athletic player. Another thing is they need, the element of throwing over the top of a zone or throwing over some of these defenses and him catching alley-oops is a huge weapon that we don't have when we're talking Bennett Vanderplas at center. I love Bennett, but when Bennett is not being effective the way that he needs to be, it's a huge liability from a defensive end if he's not giving us the offense that we need. Remember, Tony Bennett, one of the few times in his coach career that he truly made a conscious switch for offense instead of defense, which is what Bennett Vanderplas is in the flesh. Caden is a defensive stopper. He's a shot changer. He's a shot blocker. He's an intimidator. And he's just a bigger body in the way. Okay? And he helps solidify that pack line defense. And I think when the team plays their team defense with him back there, I think there's just a little bit more of a confidence factor. And there's more length. They need more length. Also, Poppy. They need Poppy in there. I think there needs to be an attitude adjustment. Remember, he's energy, he's attitude, he's effort. Okay, and he's strength. He's a very strong player. Probably the strongest player on the team. They need him in there also to help solidify the interior and not let some of these big men get to where they want to get to. Poppy's going to push them off the block. So, number one, we need Caden back in the game. Defensive stopping ability at the rim because we're giving up a lot of easy buckets at the rim. Also, the ability to go over the top, the threat to throw over the top, to catch alley-oops, catch easy buckets, okay? I think that needs to happen. I really want to see what Coach Bennett's going to do with this UNC game coming up. But back to Caden, back to Poppy. Still give Bennett some time, but we got to split that up to, maybe we go 50-50 Caden and Bennett, and then we throw some minutes in there for Poppy as needed based off of energy and based off of how their big man is playing us. Just a strategy from me. I just got to figure something out because it's too late in the season. Being this late in the season, we typically would have a plan set, but we're going through transition, which is very rare for us. But the next three games, you got UNC, you got Clemson, you got Louisville. Remember, Louisville gave us everything that we need that we could handle. Barely beat them at Louisville. Clemson, we know what's up. Clemson is the top team right now, or one of the top teams. All right, right now. Still, was leading the ACC for most of the year. Probably has more days in first place at the ACC than any other team, in the league this year. Still hunting. Still needs a win against a ranked UVA team. UNC, same thing. Our next foe, the oldest rivalry in the South. Let's see what Tony Bennett comes up with. He may start Bennett, but he needs to go ahead and get Caden Shedrick in there and get the defense back on track. Remember, we are a defense-first team. This team thrives off of its defense. And we are lost because our defense isn't working and the offense is definitely not working. So come back with me tomorrow. Check me out. We got to have a UNC tail of the tape, and we'll talk about that game as well. But love you guys. Thank you for watching and listening. And thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Thank you guys. Love you. See you tomorrow.